Welcome to Barry Charles Footy Show, one-stop shop for everything rugby league, and we've got a bamboozler for you today. Yes, what's happening in rugby league? Well, international game is the big talking point. It's a time to go global with rugby league. It's time to rock and roll into the stratosphere. Blaze Talangi into number 6. Finally gets his opportunity for Penrith. Is it too little, too late? The Roosters dropped Chad Townsend. Crackdown, the referee crackdown. The forward pass, what was doing there? Laurie Daly maybe going for Moses as well as Cleary. No Luai. Zach Lomax out for 6 weeks. Is that curtains for his origin? Well, there's plenty to talk about here on the footy. Let's get to it right here, right now at Barry Charles Footy Show. Welcome, guys and gals, back to the channel. Yes, rugby league just keeps on delivering. And in this episode, we're going to go straight to it. We're going to talk about what is happening. Super League War. Yes, the Super League War that we had in 1995-96. Now we're looking at it again, but in the UK. NRL looking to take over the Super League and make it to better. Is it the right idea? Is it not? Well, I'm telling you right now, it needs to happen. But if they were going to go there, what needs to happen? They got to add a London team, or get the London Broncos back in there. Have 2 teams potentially in France. Go look at the team in Scotland and Ireland and Wales. So there you go. There's quite a few teams just there. So you have France. Just say you got a France, Scotland, Wales, Ireland team. So that's 4 teams right there. With 6 of the bigger clubs. You only need 1 hull, you don't need 2 hulls. 1 hull will do. So you got Wigan, Warrington, St Helens, Leeds, then Hull, and then up to you if you want to put a Huddersfield in there or whatever. Make it a 10 to 12 team comp. You could probably get it up to 12 teams if you really want to. And you can expand in the future and look at teams from Lebanon, South Africa. I mean, there is opportunities for Greece. I mean, there's quite a few teams that they could put into this competition in the surrounding areas. Italy, like there is teams around there that you can look at. So what do I think about the expansion overall rugby league? Indigenous team, absolutely rubbish call to have an Indigenous team playing against Australia. That's just absolute pedant. But this is what I think should happen. Now, in all these places, you look in development as well, but I'm just looking at the international side right here. So this is what you could do in rugby league right here, right now, and you would have 30 countries, legitimate countries, not muck around countries, 30 legitimate countries, all playing rugby league consistently. And you all have them playing competitions in their local area, or mix a couple of them up if they have to, because they haven't got enough players. And then you come together for 6 Nations, whatever you want to call them, competitions, and then at the end of the year, you play against different countries each year, leading up to a World Cup every 4 years. Absolutely got to happen. They can do it. They just got to shorten the NRL season for it to happen. So if you want this all to happen, NRL goes down to 20 games at the most, home and away fixture sort of thing. If you get to 20 teams, that's what they should look at, or whatever. Yeah. Or they play teams twice in the conference. I think that's the best way to go. Then you have 4 weeks finals. So that's how they do it, mate. And then from there, so you have a winner from, say, East and Western Conference, just saying for league purposes. So they play quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. And then you have the big game that gets into like a Super Bowl fixture. I think that's where the NRL is heading towards when they get to 20 teams. Wowza. That's what. But getting back to international football, this is the teams I'm suggesting you could look at, and people are going to go, what? But let's just start with what we've already got around us. So you've got Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, Cook Islands, and I'm putting one out there, a bold one, say Indonesia, or maybe Philippines, or something like that. So you got 8 legitimate teams in the Pacific. You start off there. Then we can look at where we already sort of got some traction, but you can add to it. So let's have a look at the Europe side. So you could have France, England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Italy. So there's 6 Nations teams that are already playing right now in the rugby teams. Turn it to league. and then add the likes of Greece and Spain potentially, or Germany, Sweden, whatever you want to talk, whatever, Portugal, whatever you can get strong league foundations in, you got 8 clubs there. You got 8 countries there. So that's 16. Now let's go to Asia, and this is a big market that they could, and this is where the money comes in for rugby league. If you really want to get rocking and rolling, China, India, these are just big nations. Saudi Arabia. You're talking about some of the biggest of the big names here. You mix them up with the likes of Japan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Lebanon, South Africa. Look at that. Boom. Now we're starting to talk about a proper global game. Then when you go decide, let's go even further, and let's go to North America, South America. Let's put them all together. So you have Canada, USA, Mexico from North America and South America. You have Argentina, Brazil, and you can probably name who you want for the next one, but I'm just going with Chile, but it could be Paraguay, whatever you want to put in there. You put all these teams together, so they all have similar seasons, and then they have the competitions all at the same time. The international games, 4 weeks of international games between all the countries in the fields at the start of the season, and at the end of the year they travel around to different places. So Australia will play against say Italy, China, and whoever, or they might just go into a block. So say New Zealand versus USA, Mexico, and Canada, for instance. So there's a little bit less travel for most of them, but New Zealand go over there, and then Tonga go to an Asian one. Like you understand what I'm saying? This is where rugby league should be heading. If they want to go to the top of the peaks, that's what they need to do. But anyway, that's just my spiel on this rugby league comic. Zach Lomax, yes, 6 weeks out of the game. What's doing, folks? 6 weeks out of the game for Zach Lomax. Do I see that as a hindrance to the game for New South Wales? Oh, absolutely. Will he get back? I think as Andrew John said, if he plays one game, he's in. But that's the question mark over a lot of the New South Wales players. You got him, Toho, Tommy Turbo, all these players are coming, Mitch Moses, all coming back at the same time. Do you want to risk playing any of them? The only one I'll be risking is Lomax. Yes, so Lomax will be the only one I'll be wanting to keep. But yes, let's get back to the forward pass from Latrell Mitchell. Yes, was it forward, was it back? Well, I really want to show you why it was a pass, because he passed it backwards, and I want to roll the tape right now to settle the argument of what happens when you pass the ball with momentum passing, and check out the video right now.
This pass appears to be legal until a line is traced from where the pass was released to where it was caught. The receiver was behind the passer and the passer's hands did not go forward. It seems to justify the argument for inertia. But if inertia was a force that cannot be negated by the passer, how is the passer able to accurately target this stationary receiver? And if the passer's running speed is the basis for the inertia on the ball, why does inertia appear to be acting in the same conditions when the passer isn't moving? The answer is simple. The trajectory of the pass is primarily determined by the receiver, not inertia. It takes time for the ball to travel the distance between the passer and the receiver.
I'm pretty sure I remember Andrew Johns doing one of these clips, but I couldn't find it. But of how the ball travels forward from when you pass it from a running position. I hope that video tried to clear it up for you what happens when it comes to the forward passes. But simple terms, folks, if you want to go all out saying what's a forward pass and what's not a forward pass, simple, you don't need all this video replay rubbish. If they pass it backwards, it's play on. If they pass it forward in their hands, which you can clearly see, you can have a camera angle on this all the time, game over. That's all they need to do. It's all they need to do. You can have 2 cameramen on either side of the field where the touch judges are, going backwards and forwards down the sideline. They might already have it, and they just follow the play the whole time, and they can be there for the camera shot of the forward pass. As simple as that. That's all they need to do in rugby league. It's not a hard thing, and they will cut out the rubbish. Now people say, yeah, floated forward. Well, at the end of the day, Black or white rule, easy for everyone to understand. If they pass it back, it's play on. If they pass it forward, then clearly it's a forward pass. Simple as that. If it goes flat, it's beautiful. It's only when they throw it forward, like gridiron, that's an extension of fully gridiron, but if it's slightly forward, it's forward. As simple as that. That will stop all this kind of rubbish. Now, what about Reedy and Sam Walker? Yes, because there's different talking points depending on who you talk to. Fox Sports say no. On the other side of the coin, Channel 9, some of them have said yes. Where does this all lay? What do I think about the situation here? Simple as this. If you're a player, you want to play. Why? Because this is the difference between being a 300 gamer to a 400 gamer. Obviously injury is probably not going to help Sam Walker get to 400, but this is precisely my point. If there's 10 games left in the season, he comes back and injury concerns or whatever, the Roosters are out of the running. I understand from a club perspective to rest him for the rest of the season. I understand that. But in terms of a player's development, there is an Australian tour at the end of the year, folks. You don't know what injuries can happen. Moses can injure, Cleary getting injured. Then Sam Walker is in line for potential to be the halfback going over for the Ashes tour. That is where it is. Forget about Clubland. Internationals is number one, and that's where it's got to go to. And that's why Sam Walker should be playing, regardless of trying to rest him for the other. That's basically what it's about. If a player's in contention for some sort of jersey like that, they need to go. But apart from that, like if it's a Chad Townsend type player, then you could argue to rest or say. But when it comes to someone like, to me, they just got to play. If you have a different opinion, read it down in the comments. Samoa, yes, Samoa. Controversy here on more Samoans. Hammer is added to the list of people that wants to join Samoa. Well, let's have a look at a team right here, right now. Well, it's slightly different to what you've seen out there, but there's various amounts of players you can put in here. But anyway, I'm putting the Hammer, Murray Talangi, and Brian Taho in my wingers. In the centres, Stephen Crichton and Roger Tuivasa Sheik, Blaze Talangi and Jerome Luai, 6 and 7. Then you got Terrell May, Harris Davida at number 9, Payne Huss, the other forward, Jaden Sewer, Jeremiah Nanai, and Tino. Then on the bench here, Suafā Longo, Spencer Lenu, Helam Luki, and Stavana Okamatoi. And that's leaving out Jesse Arthurs, Isaac Targo, Greg Marju, Royce Hunt, Jazz Tavaga, Josh Papali'i, Kalma Talangi, Josh Ale, Danny Levi, Junior Polo, Luciano Leu, Taylor May. That list just goes on and on and on and on. You can nearly have 2 Samoan teams that will be very competitive at the state level. I hope it happens. Deserves to happen. And if you're going back to the origin availability, just let them. Simple, clear rules again. I don't know why there has to be different rules for this. If you were in New South Wales or Queensland before secondary schools, or bang on whatever the start date of secondary schools are, if you were living in here, regardless of born or not, and you played your footy here, you're eligible for New South Wales and Queensland. Simple as that. You have to be living in the state. Simple as that. I believe that is the rule right now, but the only rule difference is in terms of if you play for Australia or England, you can't play. But for any other country, you can. Just change that rule. Simple, done. Let's get on with it. You're still going to have half the team are going to be the Australian players. You just want the best of the best playing Origin, right? Just let it happen. That's the way I see it. But rugby league's a funny. So yes, Blaze Talangi, he's in. Chad Townsend out the door. See you later. Mark Nawatawazne, what's happening there? He should be straight back in. They should dump Dominic Young, in my opinion. There's just a lot of rubbish going around the game. The crackdown wasn't much of a crackdown. Not really. A high tech was a high tech. I sort of agree with what they're saying on the media here. If it's just a little clip on there, like accidental clip, but if it's a swinging arm, shoulder directly to the head with no care, this is where I want to say difference. Okay. If they shoulder charge and they're looking to make a tackle, it hits them in the head when they're dropping, That's why I don't like a sin bin. It should be a report. Yes, he could get 1 week or 2 weeks. I know people debate, well, what's that helps. You could argue if a player just rightly gets knocked out, taken off the field, that the other player goes off for 10 minutes. I can argue that point. But I can argue to say that he shouldn't be sin bin if he gets up and they continue to play. I think if someone gets completely knocked out, 10 minutes makes sense to me. And if it's like blatantly a high shot. But these little clips, they might come off the shoulder and that'll just little clips. To me, it's just a penalty and that's it. But if it's an absolute boom into the head, just a straight head hit, then there's a different story and you get the sin binning offence or sent off. That's the way I see that part of it going. Yeah, Laurie Daly looks like he's looking at a Moses Cleary situation potentially instead of Luai. Do I think that's correct? No way you could argue Cleary's not in good enough form to make the team at the moment. So, well, I'll put that one out there for you. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes moving forward. But yes, that's rugby league happening at the moment. Let's just finish off this conversation right here, right now, with Zach Lomax. I mean, not Zach Lomax. The tips of the week. So we're going to start off here with Panthers. I think are going to beat the Dolphins by 7. The Titans to upset the Dragons at home. So Dragons are at home. I think the Titans can get up in this game. They'll bounce back. I think they're going to be one of those teams that go up and down all season. I'm not convinced the Dragons could be potentially the wooden spooners. Broncos, too good for the Roosters for mine. Should be way too good. Sharks and Manly, this is a tough game for me. But I am tipping the Sharks. With no real confidence, to be honest. Oh yeah, I was supposed to talk about Nico Hines. Yes, Nico Hines. Is he the man to be the number 7? I honestly don't think so. Some people are just not up for that sort of pressure, being able to handle being the top dog. Just some people aren't coped for it. It's just natural for society. Some of them are not the top dog. So you got 2 questions. You either put him at number 6 or potentially fullback. I still think he could be fullback. Get rid of Will Kenley. Just let him go. Nico Hines is your fullback. I think he had less pressure on him. He played good at fullback before. I think that's where his position lies in the future if I was coaching the Sharkies. Anyway, Rabbitohs should beat the Cowboys. The Raiders, I'm going to say they're going to beat the Eagles, but the travel could be an issue. Probably, I think, the most confident one out of the lot this week, which is sad to say for my Warriors here, but let's just be fair dinkum. The Storm should be smashing them. They're smashing them for a long time. I don't know how many games in a row. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's going to continue again. They were at full strength, the Storm. So Warriors are a little bit out of troops at the moment. Even though the Warriors are playing well, the Storm should be too good. And Knights versus the Tigers. And to me, yeah, this is another coin flip. There's quite a few coin flips this week, but I'm going for the Knights in this one to beat the Tigers, but not convinced at all. Now, some people are going to bag me. Why do I keep not picking the Warriors? Because I go with my head, not my heart. I'm a fan of all rugby league teams. Don't get me wrong, Warriors is my favourite, there's no doubt about it, but I just continue to see it as I see it. The Panthers, of course. Panthers, Dolphins is a big game. The loser of this game can't win the premiership. Simple as that. History has shown it. Rules are meant to be broken, but pretty much since the day of time, Panthers or Dolphins, if they lose 1-5, they are gone. And same with Eagles, if they lose to the Raiders, they're gone. So there's some pressure on some teams this week. They've got to win 3 in a row. Dolphins, Panthers, and the Eagles, all of them have got to win 3 in a row. So we will see how that all plays out. So just going back to that, 8 games, you've got to have 4 wins in the first 8 games to be a premiership winner. It's been the history, and it'll continue to be when you add more and more teams. It could even get higher going forward. You might have to win 5 going forward with more teams coming into the competition. But anyway, that's the Barry Charles Footy Show for this episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video soon.